obsessed with me. And I wanna know. Are you me? That last face was, I caught my own face. I used to be a background dancer for Mariah Carey, and then she found out that I was not supposed to be there, and I am not allowed within 3 states of her. So she doesn't tour in Georgia anymore, or South Carolina, or North Carolina, or Alabama, etc. So Bear. This movie is about a character named Bear. Baron. They call him. Am I crying? I don't know. Yes. This movie is about a character named Bear, and they call him Bear. Bear is a timid, hopeless romantic who buys a one-wish willow, a novelty item claiming to grant a single wish, no alterations. So once a wish is granted, you may not change it. And of course, in a movie like this, every wish has a catch. What is the catch? Unfortunately, our character does not catch the catch before he wishes his wish, and then boom, his life changes at some points for the better, and then at other points for the worse. And what we have here is a man who wishes for his crush to like him, as we all have, but he does it in this magical, maniacal way that ends up becoming more than he bargained for. And ultimately, we watch as her codependency, and I guess even his codependency. Let me add equal blame here. Let me spread the peanut butter and jelly evenly on the sandwich, if you catch my drift. We see how their codependency corrupts each other's lives. Obsession is an effective, albeit blunt, commentary on overly attached significant others who isolate themselves from their partners in relationships. Isolate themselves and their partners from others in relationships. It's also a careful what you wish for cautionary tale. The film is filled end to end with eeriness, complemented by a haunting ambient score, excellent use of dim lighting, and a stellar performance from the actress playing our love interest. She is awesome in this movie. Without her performance, I don't think you can just plug and play her in this movie. Other characters probably, though some of them have some likable qualities in their performance, not necessarily their characters, but their performance. But she is just well above and beyond everyone in this movie. And honestly, I'm impressed by her. There's physicality there. You can tell she had to go through hours of makeup for some scenes. She also changes her voice. I'm sure there's some After Effects there, but she changes her voice. She just looks different, makes different contorted versions of her face to appear in different moods and different scenes. She is just really good in this movie, and it really all hinges on her. And I think a lot of that works, if not all of that working. No, all of that works actually. It's just other parts of the movie that don't work for me. Anyway, the occasional campiness and comedy of the movie help break up the creepiness at the story's core, but the horror tropes and oddities make for a flawed film. So you have some of the horror tropes here, character does weird, odd thing that no one would stick around for. Head smashing, okay, we're still doing head smashing, I get it. Talk to Me did a great job of doing the head smashing scene, and now every movie is doing that. I'm sure it predates Talk to Me, but Talk to Me is my introduction to such horror and gore and disgusting things. But yeah, this movie gets a deduction for that. But also, I feel like the story, it's only, hour and 50 minutes maybe, but it does feel a little sluggish at times. I feel like some of this stuff is okay, it's a reinforcement of the toxicity of this dynamic that I don't need to see again and again and again. What I do appreciate about this movie is that the ancillary characters do have moments where they voice their opinions and worries about the relationship. So we have Nikki and Bear in their relationship now. It's maybe not officially a relationship, but they're in a relationship. And the 2 characters that they're also friends with in this 4-person friend group, they start to notice. And it's that happens in real life. When you find somebody that you're really close to and that person finds their person later on in y'all's friendship, you start to notice how your friend that you once knew and were very tight with starts to kind of come around less. And some of that's natural, but some of that can be concerning if it becomes too abrupt or too consistent. So this is a good cautionary tale about how you isolate yourselves from your loved ones when you fall in love with someone else. Or in this case, you're obsessed with somebody else, which obsession is a good distinction from love. That's why I love this title, is because obsession is often short-lived. If it's not short-lived, it comes from a less wholesome place than love, romance, or affection. So I like this movie and what it's speaking to, and I think it speaks to it in a very creative way most of the time. And it's definitely an effective horror film. I just don't love some of the dialogue, some of the pacing, and some of the horror tropes that it chooses to indulge in. But none of these are bad. It's a good movie. I do recommend watching it. If you love horror in theaters, maybe on a Friday, Saturday night with the crowd, might give you a lot to work with here. Some of the lines that might have been funny that didn't hit in my audience today with only 5 of us in there might hit there. If not, I do think you could kind of like, I'm not going to encourage this behavior, but I feel like if this movie comes out on streaming in 2 months, you can watch this with your phone in your hand or while you're like applying for a job or something like that. Peep up every 5-10 minutes and lock back in for a few minutes at a time and still enjoy a lot of this movie because you get the general idea of it. So, good movie. The actress who plays Nikki is named Inde Navarrete. I am not saying that right. I apologize, Nikki. Or sorry, Inde, who plays Nikki. But I think I might have said her name 2 different ways in like 10 seconds. But whatever. She's great in this, and I hope to see more of her. Andy Richter is also here. He's like Conan's sidekick on the old Conan O'Brien show. But like he's here, and he plays one of the characters' dads, which is cool. But yeah, good minimal cast, minimal locations, great music, great ambiance, great eeriness, and general like not suspension, but suspense building. But it's ultimately gonna be a movie I probably never think about again because it's like, yeah, that one character was great. The rest of the movie, don't care. But 6 out of 10 somehow. I don't care about this. 6 out of 10, whatever, it's fine.